to Jerusalem, 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 Jerusalem. This side must keep quiet. This side must keep quiet. To Jerusalem, we are marching. To Jerusalem. Right side. Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Oh, we are marching. Action. To Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Last time, action. Jerusalem. Action. Jerusalem, 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 Jerusalem. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sis Lungi, for that. Right. We are going to get into our next session. If you look at your programs, our next session starts now. So our presenter for a session is none other than Pastor Patrick Stander. I think we all know him. We have seen him. We have spoken to him. If you have not, please say hi after the service. Say hi to him so that he gets to know you. Now, Pastor Stander is married to one wife. Pastor, how many children do you have? Okay, for now he's got 2. Right? Pastor Stander is the director of and is in charge of personal ministries, health ministries, family ministries, and men's ministries. All these ministries are under him. He's going to tell you more about himself. I don't want to say wrong things, but Pastor Stander, it's your time. May you bless us this morning.
The sound people have switched on my voice so I can start talking. Good morning. Morning, Pastor. Yeah, it's still morning. Are you okay? Yes. You sound like you are not okay. Are you okay? Yes. Okay. I know Russell was really putting you through your motions and all of that, and some of you might have a headache by now. But we are asking that you endure. We are almost there. All right. My assignment is a difficult one because the assignment says we must create a purpose-driven model for youth ministries in the local church. That's a very difficult assignment, and I'm hoping you are going to help me with the assignment. Are we okay? All right. Now I need to ask you a number of questions, and I need you to write down your responses on your page or I see you guys got notebooks. I'm so happy I can use the word guys because I'm talking to youth ministries people. Sometimes when I'm at church and I'm talking to the serious people, I find myself saying guys, and then I must correct myself midstream because then I'm realizing I can't call serious people guys. I'm not saying you are not serious, but those people are very serious. You can't call them guys. Those people are serious people. Are you ready for the questions? Okay, here is the first question. No, the question is not on my computer. The first question I want to ask you is, how many of the children or young people in your section of youth ministries were baptized in 2019? In your local church, how many adventurers were baptized in 2019? How many pathfinders were baptized in 2019? How many ambassadors and how many young adults were baptized in 2019? So if you are in adventurer ministries, you will just write for adventurers. If you are in pathfinder ministries, you will just write for pathfinders. If you are with ambassadors, you will just write the ambassador figure. If your people don't know, help them. You are allowed to copy. So here's the question. How many of the children and young people in your specific ministry were baptized in 2019? If the answer is 0, don't be shy, just write 0. Okay, that's 2019. Now, obviously you did not baptize people in 2020. If you did, you can write for 2020. The question is the same. Then in 2021, how many did you baptize in that particular ministry? It's the same question. 2019, 2020, and 2021. How many of the children and young people in your particular ministry did you baptize in 2019, 2020, and also in 2021? If you have the information, write it. If you don't have the information, just write there, I don't know. Yeah. If it was 0, just write 0. Next question. Next question. How many youth ministries specialists do you have in your local church? Now, don't write because you don't understand the question. I see some of you are writing. You don't understand the question. Don't write. Let me tell you what I mean. I'm asking you, how many people in your local church are master guides whom we assume are junior youth ministry specialists? How many people in your local church either have the old YLA or the SYL, which is new, and they specialize in senior youth ministries? How many of them do you have in your local church? In other words, how many master guides are in your local church, or how many SYL people are in your local church? Now, please include those people in your church who have been master guides before you were born. Those ones who are not doing anything in your local church, they are just reminding you they are master guides before you. The ones who are not doing anything. I'm talking about those ones. Just write them there. They are telling you, in our days when we were master guides, those ones, I'm talking about them. Just write, how many of them do you have? Right. Next question. Next question. How many of you, on a scale of 1 to 10, were able to manage the shift from physical engagement to digital engagement? So on a scale of 1 to 5, how well did you do when we moved from physical engagement to digital engagement? How much are you giving yourself on a scale of 1 to 5? Were you able to deal with it? The shift from physically engaging and then digitally engaging in your ministry. And then the last question, which should be an easy one. Have you decided already how many of the young people in your ministry are you going to baptize this year? The answer is yes or no. Have you already decided how many of the children and young people in your ministry you are going to baptize? If the answer is no, just write no. If it's yes, say yes, and then you also write the number of how many of the children in your particular ministry are you going to baptize in 2022? Okay, I think you have the answers to all the questions. So we will now start asking you to tell us what you wrote. So I will ask anyone because all of you wrote. Madam, your name? I see you've written yes, Bongile. Madam Sbongile, tell us what did you write for question 1? 0. Okay. And then for 2021? 0. And for 2020? 0. Okay. Let us not punish you too much. Just let's ask other people. Let's hear. Question 1. 0. Okay. 2020? 0. 2021? 0. Okay. Let us ask others who are here in front. Question number 1? 20. Question number 1.
Question number 1, how many were baptized in 2019?
Yes.
None.
None. 0. And then?
2020 is 0.
0. 2021? 0. I need to speak to your church boards. This is trouble. Madam, you look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere? I want to say I know you from somewhere. Yeah. Yes, I know. So you are here also. You are powerful. Can we give her a hand? She was in our personal ministries training last week. You have your hands full. Question 1? Or you were not here? Question 2?
I just came where you said, how did you manage?
Okay, can you respond to that one? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you manage?
I'll say 7.
7. Okay, you did well. Madam, the question on shifting from physical to digital. 5. Okay. Let us see. I don't want to ask those that I know. They will say I'm picking on them. Sir, question 1. You are still praying about it? 2019 0. 2020 0. 2021 0. Okay. Let us come to this side here. Question 1. Madam. Question 1. You are still thinking. Okay, she's in the category where they are praying about the answer. They are praying about the answer. It's good to pray about the answer so that you give us the right answer. Okay, let us hear. Atel, question 2.
How many specialists?
Yes,
I think more than 15, but I can't be sure.
more than 15.
Yeah, but Pastor Human is from my congregation. He's probably one of the oldest master guides.
Yeah, he is Mr. Pathfinder. Pastor Jacob Human, I think Pastor Human turned 96 last year or 97. He started pathfindering in the area where we are. So if you want to know Mr. Pathfinder, you must go to Pastor Human's house. He started pathfindering here. They celebrated 50 years ago during the time when Pastor Mvunelo was the youth ministries director. So in that period, the Cape Conference celebrated in the Western Cape 50 years of pathfindering. Now, if you count to where we are now, so Pastor Human was still a young man at the time when he started pathfindering here. So, yeah, and it still fits him, by the way. The first one, the one with fan belt, that one, it still fits him. All right. Now, who of you found it quite, okay, let's try. Those of you who scored 5 with a shift from physical to digital, everybody who scored about 5. Can we see your hands? Okay. Those who scored below 5 you really had problems with the shift. Can we see? Okay. Those who went above 5, you were fine with shifting to. No, I said 1 to 10. I said 1 to 10, unless Oh, sorry. It's okay. It's okay. No, I'm able to be wrong. I have capacity to be wrong. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, maybe I might answer wrongly, but with the shifting, are you meaning that shifting to physical worship personally, like
No, we are not discussing worship. We are discussing when you were dealing with the kids. Yeah, that's what when you're dealing with the kids and you now had to move from physically meeting to finding other ways of dealing with them. Was it easy? It was not, eh? Yeah, okay. Now, what is the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries? Everybody's looking down. It's like when they are asking someone to pray, then everybody looks down. Please tell me what is the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries? Sisenkingeni lana. Hayi ingxaki inkulu apha. On the groot problem, that's what I'm trying to say. If you can't tell me off the top of your head what the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries is, then we are in trouble. Huh? I'm hearing the last part here. It says discipleship. Yeah. Yes, ma'am? I'm going to write a letter to Pastor AJ's office to take back all your pins. I want to ask him to take back the pins because you are unable to tell me what the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries is. What is it?
To evangelize people of
Hey, Mamela man. The philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries used to be salvation and service. Some of you have those caps at your house. It's written here at the back, salvation and service. You even have T-shirts that say salvation and service. You remember those golf shirts? Willow has them at his house. It's written there, salvation and service. It was changed in 2011 by the General Conference Youth Ministries Department to say salvation and discipleship. The rationale behind it being a Satanist can be nice to people. You are not following. I can be a Satanist and give you bread. And my giving you bread has nothing to do with being a disciple of Jesus. Are we together? So, the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries is salvation and discipleship. Now, I led with the question asking you, how many people in your specific ministry were baptized? And for the most of you, it's going to be 0. For the most of you, I did not say for all of you. For the most of you, it's going to be 0. Because you somehow do not understand the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries. Your business in Adventist Youth Ministries is to lead young people, and this is now when you begin to look at the goal and the objectives of Adventist Youth Ministries. It says it is to lead young people into a saving relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ and for them to embrace his call to discipleship. It's written that way in the Youth Ministries documents. Are we still together? Yeah. So we are not sloganeering. We are not just saying salvation. You need to understand why you are in youth ministries in the context of the local church. You must understand why that is the case. Your primary business is to make disciples out of the kids that have been entrusted into your care. That's your business. Now, I'm submitting to you that the pandemic had nothing to do and has not had an impact on the fact that you were unable to disciple the children in your church. Let me repeat that in English. COVID-19 did not change the fact that you were unsuccessful at making disciples of our children. So you can't blame COVID because in 2019 there was no what? COVID. And you still didn't baptize the kids. Can I check with you? Who of you in 2019 invested more than 5 young people in the guide class? Can I see in your church? You invested more than 5. Can I see your hands? You invested more than 5 in the guide class. Okay. Now, the people who are saying, Ewe, I know the reason why. No, I'm going to tell you the reason why. I pastored that church. I know the reason why. That church intentionally has a baptismal class for the young people who are in the guide class. And they annually have a Pathfinder baptism. It's not a mistake. They have an appointed teacher to teach the guide class and to take them through the fundamental beliefs of the Adventist church. It is part of how their church runs. When we baptized those young people, when I was pastoring there in 2016, we were 2 pastors in the font, and we wear the respective youth ministries' uniforms in the font. And the kids wore their field uniform in the water. And when they came out, they wore their dress uniform, and we put the baptism pin on them. You see that black one that has a cross and has the SDA? That is the baptism pin. You only wear that pin when you are a baptized pathfinder or a baptized leader of people in junior youth ministries. So their church is intentional about doing them. So I'm submitting to you that COVID-19 had nothing to do with the fact that you had failed at discipling our kids. Why did I start with 5 for the guide class? Let me tell you why. You can call any conference youth ministries director in the entire Southern African Union. They will tell you it is an anomaly, it is strange when you invest more than 5 from a guide class at any given time. And I'm not talking about district investitures, I'm talking about local church investitures. Because Osis Nori, when they start with these kids in the Adventurer Club, those people get lost by the time we hand them over to you Pathfinder people. Hello? Osis Nori, they keep them. And you will see the old insignia, which I am wearing, has your 4 classes for adventurers, all right? But the new insignia has a family with the children, because Adventurer Ministries in the Seventh-day Adventist Church Manual is defined as a family-based program. And so when the insignia was changed, they did that intentionally in order to align the ministry with what is in the church manual. So when you do the basic staff training for adventurers, there's a module there that talks about the parenting program. Because every week when the kids are with you, parents are supposed to be there. And there must be a program for parents that runs concurrently with the children's class. Are we together? So, the Adventurer Ministry has sustained and has been able to take the kids through the motions and to hand them over to Pathfinder people. And we have the ceremonies, they are nice, they take off the neckerchief, they put on the Pathfinder one, and by the time those people get to the guide class, you guys have done nothing to them. And this is why, when we need master guides, we can't take them automatically from the guide class to the master guide program, because the prerequisites of the master guide program says the person must be at least how old? 16. And the person must be a baptized member of the church in regular standing. Now you folks, through the Pathfinder system, you fail to baptize them. And therefore, they cannot move to the master guide program. So the ambassador guys have tried to help. And so when you look at the ambassador curriculum, the first module deals with discipleship. And then it moves to leadership. Because you can't have a leader in our church who's not a disciple of Jesus. No, I'm not presenting yet, I'm just fixing. I'm just fixing. We are fixing first. Now, here is the problem. You don't understand, first of all, what your function is. Whenever you stand in front of our children, you are an evangelist. That's what you are. So, if my child comes to you, and my child comes back home, and nothing has happened to my child, then we are in trouble. Are we still together? We are in trouble because adventurer people, because it's a controlled environment, because it's family-based, they are able to move with them nicely. When you hand them over to your Pathfinder people, these people now become independent. So they come to the friend class and they are taught how to be a friend to people and how to make positive decisions and how to choose friends. So they are now finding themselves. They move on to companion. And as they develop, they become more independent in their thinking. And you think you have time. You don't have time. By the time they come to guide, you have nobody left. I am challenging you. Phone any conference in this union. Ask them, when they go to local churches, how many people do they invest for the guide class? The average is 5. Ask any conference. When they open on Monday, phone, and you check what I'm saying to you. We are losing our kids because you don't understand what we are doing. Are we together? So there's a tension then between what we call the program paradigm and the process paradigm. Most of us are stuck in the program paradigm. That means you folks have already planned your program. The youth ministries follows a 10-month cycle. So you have programs that must happen over the period of 10 months. You must finish the curriculum over the period of 10 months. Now, because you are stuck with the program, you lose focus of the fact that it's not about what you are doing primarily. It's about who you are dealing with and the purpose of that. So you have the program paradigm. The program paradigm says, these people must have their uniforms, they must have their classwork books, we must fight with the parents because they must buy the pins, they must buy the neckerchiefs, we must go to the church board and fight. You people fight, hallelujah. Yeah, that's why you wear this one of uniform. This one is for fighting. You go there in the meeting, it's always a fight. Some of you cry, by the way. Some of you cry there in the board. And you are behaving as if these kids are your kids. The parents are not worried about them, you are more worried. we had a drill down at the Group Center before they closed it. So we are there early in the morning, we're packing out the stuff. So one lady comes there. Fundisi, zikhona ipin apha nebadge. The mother looking for pins and badges the morning before the drill down starts. She still had to go and put it on. We are starting at 8 o'clock. It's now 6:30 in the morning. Then I asked the class, the club director, hey, I saw one of your parents here. What happened? And the lady came very relaxed. It's me. I am out of that. I told them, I've got nothing to do with you. No. You must sort out your children yourself. I've got nothing to do with you. And there was fire because parents were now coming. We made a lot of money that day. They came buying things. I then learned that the people who are concerned about the salvation of children, it's you. It's just that sometimes you are not clear about what we are doing. All right. Now, I asked you, how many specialists do you have? Some of you counted 15, others have 20, others have what? And by the way, we see those people only when it's investiture because they want to put pins on children. Why are you quiet? We will not tell them that you said so. We know that that's what they do. They want to be there. When it's now time to pin, they come also there and they put. Remember, the master guide pin was given to you in trust. When they invested you in the charge, it says that this insignia is given to you in trust, and it can be taken back by the entity that gave it to you at any given time. Which means, in your church board, you must make a submission that says, there are 20 master guides here, but we can't find children, can't find people to teach the class. Therefore, I move that we request the conference to withdraw the insignia, to take the pin and to take the qualification. Then your church writes a letter to the conference. Then the conference tells that person, on such and such a day, we are coming to collect our pin. It's not your pin. This is why I hope they are still doing it. When we were still in the driver's seat, we did not allow people to buy Master Guide pin because the pin does not belong to you. It belongs to the conference. Yeah, all the insignia belongs to the conference. This is why parents should not be allowed to buy pins. It is the church that buys pins. Write it down. Write it. It is the local church that buys the pins for investiture. It is not parents, because the pin belongs to the what? The church. Okay. So you are struggling with the program paradigm. So you are dealing with programs and all of that. And this is why you are struggling to develop a purpose-driven model for youth ministries in your church. Now let's assist you with that. First of all, you need to understand that the chairperson of the youth committee is who? Am I talking to myself? Yeah, it is the young adult ministries leader. It's him. Stand, please, so they can see you. It's you. It's him. The people who wear this uniform, it's them. So it is the senior youth ministries person who is the chair of the youth committee. Now, when you have meetings, you wear uniforms to that meeting. Are we together? Yeah, you wear full uniform to that meeting. The pastor of the church is a member of that committee. There's an elder who is a member. You don't have to write that down. You can go and look at it in the church manual. It's there. It tells you who the people are. The personal ministries leader of the church is a member of the youth committee. The health ministries leader of the local church is a member. The junior Sabbath school superintendent is a member. Children's ministries is a member, because you are dealing with the same children. Are we together? Now, in that committee, it is the senior youth ministries leader who calls the shots, because if pathfindering and adventurer ministry is dysfunctional, the person we go to is the head. If we don't have a pathfinder director in a local church, it is you, sir, who must ensure that the Pathfinder Club functions. The classes must be there, the curriculum must be implemented, because the church manual puts that function squarely on your shoulders. Are we together? The Personal Ministries Council has you guys in it. You are not following. The Personal Ministries Council is the board minus the church clerk. Because the Personal Ministries Council has the PM secretary as the secretary of the meeting. That is the only department that has its secretary as part of the board. Therefore, when there's a Personal Ministries meeting of the council, you are a member of that committee by virtue of your office and by virtue of being a board member. Why am I showing you the two committees? I'm showing you the two committees so that you understand your place. You must understand your place in the system of the church. So now, when you start developing your programs, you need to know who is who. Not in the zoo, in the local church. You must know who is who. When you have a meeting and there's no elder present, that was not a meeting. You guys were just talking. Amen. Yeah, you were just talking. You were just talking. And the reason why we are raising that is because if your elder does not support you in the board, you are dead. Your thing will not fly. Because if I'm the pastor and I'm chairing the meeting and you stand. And I look to the elder and I ask him what's happening. And he says, Fundis, hey, I'm not sure. Then I said, sister, sit. Sit. I can't address things that the elder does not understand. Sister, sit. We don't want to hear that thing that you are discussing. No, but pastor, hey, we don't care. Sit down. There was no elder in that meeting. Maybe you guys decided to sell the church. You decided to sell the building. So we don't know if this thing you are going to say is safe. Also, when the elder is there, it makes your thing serious. Because the elder has oversight. The elder knows the church's calendar. The elder visits people in their homes. The personal ministries leader of the local church is there because your ministry has an evangelistic component. The health ministry's leader is there because in your curriculum, at every level, there is an emphasis on healthful living. So that person is in the committee there. The junior Sabbath school people, they are dealing with your kids. They are part of making them disciples. This is why I don't understand why children's ministries and junior Sabbath school people are fighting. Why are you fighting? I'm not talking to you. I'm just asking them. Maybe they are watching. Why are you fighting? Junior Sabbath school happens in Sabbath school. Children's ministries people, wait until it's church time for divine service, or have your programs where you develop the children's choir and other programs related to your specific curriculum. He wants us to sing. We are not singing now. So here is what we are doing. We are wanting you to see how the system works, okay? This means then that when you go to the youth committee meeting, you should have done research about your church. We have now given you the first part of the research. You've looked at the historical trajectory of the church. We did not baptize in 2019. We did not baptize in 2020. We did not baptize in 2021. Meaning something is wrong with how we run the ministry. So it means you must call a meeting for your teachers to find out what is going on. Do your teachers not understand? Do they need more training? What must happen? So your planning then is informed by research. Secondly, we have discovered from your responses that you had a difficulty with shifting from physical to digital. So what must be done? So now you discuss, okay, what must we do? Also, in your research, you need to know the population that you are dealing with. How many children are for eager beaver? How many of them are for friend? How many are for companion? And you need to know who you are targeting. Because the difficulty in my thinking is we have a problem with moving from what is on the paper to actually doing it. Because there's a lot of departments in the church and we are competing for time. And some of you only work once a year. No, I know you only work once a year. How do I know? In some churches, they have a day for everything. Deacon's Day, Elders Day, Dorcas, all those people, they have days. So you wait for Youth Day, boom, you show up with all your uniforms. There are 6 of you in the Sabbath school with uniforms, and each of you preaches a sermon to us, and then we start seeing the lesson study time is short because you were taking the whole time. If you are going to have a purpose-driven model for youth ministries, do the research. You must know how many specialists do I have? How many of them are active? In other words, if I'm going to put together my staff to do my ministry, I must know which qualifications do I have? What is the skill set that I have here? The children that I'm dealing with, are they from Adventist families or are they from non-Adventist families? What are the implications of that? Now, the discipling or discipleship goal is critical. You need to have a baptism goal. Intentionally. Vote it through your board. You can't pass through the year and you are not baptizing any child. What is that? The pastor is now kicking in. The pastorness is kicking in. I was trying to be civilized, but the pastoring is kicking in now. You can't. You can't. My daughter, they went for an aptitude test at school because they're now going to choose subjects and all that. So the school psychologist asked a question. How is it that her vocabulary is more advanced than children her age? How is it that she recognizes older English words that children her age would not recognize? I know the answer. I am sure you also know the answer. Adventurers, pathfinders, Ellen White. Ellen White says things that you must pray about in order for you to understand what she's saying. Yeah. She's speaking English that you must pray about that one. You see, that English that comes by surprise, you must be very careful with that. You must pray so that you... So, I'm saying to you, your ministry is even helping our children at school. It's helping because the school does not understand. This child is not like other children. I believe in this ministry. This ministry is powerful. And the ultimate goal of the ministry is for our children to become disciples. But in order for you to develop a model for your local church, remember, you must understand your place. You must know who is who. You must research your church. How do I relate to these guys? What are the resources at my disposal? Because some of you work without a budget. You are using your money, and may the Lord bless you abundantly. No, the Lord is going to bless you because Standa said so. I'm a pastor. I have pronounced the blessing over you now. You will succeed. You are supposed to say, I receive. What is going on? I know you are Adventists. Adventists don't do those things. Receive. Now, the model that they are using in Tembale 2, a 108, might not work for you. Research your model. Research your church. Understand, how do we do this? What has happened over the last 3, 4, 5 years in our local church? By the way, one of the reasons why I'm saying this to you is because there's excitement about investiture. And those people come there. The sashes are empty, brand new sashes. It means we have not done any work. They are coming there. New uniform they are wearing. The sashes are empty. Because you have not tailored your system according to your situation, where you are. Therefore, you must go back from here and ask the questions. I've given you some of the questions. Ask those questions. Remember, youth ministries is foreign mission. You don't understand, so I must explain it to you. When you are dealing with young people, it's like going to another country where they don't speak your language. Are we together? So when you deal with youth ministries, you need to understand you are dealing with some of those kids who are born with iPads in their hands. So they know more than you about technology. Therefore, you must learn the language. I'm not a fan of Facebook, but if your people are on Facebook, you must be there on Facebook. You must read if you are in youth ministries, because you need to understand the culture. I spoke to a group of boys, and I'm concluding. I spoke to a group of boys. I met them at the station when the trains were still moving. And they were smoking, and they were wearing the uniform of one of our schools. Let me not divulge the name of the school for security reasons. And I thought to myself, okay, let me assume these boys do not come from Adventist homes. Therefore, let me approach them in another way. So they were smoking very nicely, and one was beatboxing and the other one was busting some rhymes and what. So I said, this is my entry for this conversation. So I went to them and I asked whether they know the history of hip hop and whether they know the 5 fundamentals of hip hop. Remember, I know fundamental beliefs of the church. I also know the fundamentals of hip hop. So when I asked that, everything went quiet. Because first of all, they don't know the history of hip hop. Now, because I'm an OG, I schooled them on the history of hip hop. So they said, huh? Then I said, what are the 5 pillars of hip hop? They couldn't. And because I'm a triple OG, I hammered them again. 5 pillars of hip hop. After I was done with that conversation, I now started discussing their health, the problem of smoking. In fact, the cigarette, they killed it whilst the conversation was on. What are we saying to you? You are not a program director. This program. You are a missionary. When you stand, you only have so much time with those people. And did you know they believe you more than they believe their parents? Utilize that. Tell them the gospel of Jesus. You must understand the culture. A young lady changed the economy of Russian beer vodka in 31 seconds. Even you started singing John Vulligate. Even you. Some of you were praying after singing John Vulligate. John Vulligate, the dance challenge, was created in 31 seconds. The video clip is 31 seconds long. It was started unintentionally. Some of you even bought that skirt of John Vulligate, the black one. You bought it. The shares of Russian beer went up because a young lady danced with a bottle of Russian beer vodka. The billboards changed in 31 seconds. You folks are dealing with serious business here. Got one in a timing. I don't know how you say that in English. Hey, how do you say Anina timing in English? Okay, in Afrikaans, you say Yelesi Foley. Yeah. In English, the nice way to say it in English is, you are not streetwise. As a youth ministries person, you must be streetwise. You must know the language that the children are speaking. You must know the issues that they're dealing with. You must understand the developmental stages. You must understand how they process information. This is why you are here. So if you are going to develop a purpose-driven model of youth ministries for the local church, you must start asking questions first. Take time to do the research. Come and present your findings to your committee. Then you as the committee present the findings to the board. Let the board then take an action about which model you are going to follow. Because there's no rule that says you must have the classes Sabbath afternoon. Where's the rule that says that? There's no rule that says you can't have classes on WhatsApp. There's no rule like that. There is no rule that says you can't make TikTok videos where the kids explain a component or an aspect of the curriculum. There's no rule like that. Where did you see there's a rule like that? Are we together? So please start asking the questions. Take it through the processes. And win our children for Jesus. Because the philosophy of Adventist Youth Ministries is very simple. Salvation and discipleship. Move from the program paradigm. Start the process. Have a specific process that you are following. if you are going to deal with our kids. Thank you very much. I see the people of the program are sitting here in front. They say I must stop. I still have time, ne? Questions, comments? Let's hear. Any questions? There's a hand. Yes, ma'am.
Pastor, I seem to have a challenge with the adventurers because normally in our churches we have this culture of the child is too young.
Yes.
Because the child, when the child leaves adventurers, the child is only
9.
years old. So I'm not questioning that, but I'm trying to say that there is a commitment ceremony that the Children's Ministries Department has available for us to use in order for us to prepare them for pathfinders. So we can have our baptismal person helping them along, especially for the 8 and 9-year-olds, to prepare them for pathfinders to be baptized in pathfinders, but they've already made that commitment to be baptized.
Yeah, that you see what you are outlining it's very important to understand. When you do enlistment for either of the clubs, the way you folks do it is the people come there and there's an enlistment ceremony. But if you follow the Pathfinder Administrative Manual, they should change that name to handbook. If you follow it, there must be a visitation process that precedes the enlistment. You can't have enlistment if you did not visit, because who are you enlisting? The system says you must first go and evangelize for your club. You must go and visit. Then you have the enlistment because you have now gone to visit, so you know the profile of each of the children and you have the support of the parents. Okay? So you need to advise the parents during the process that, listen, one of the objectives we have is to have this ultimately where your child accepts the Lord and becomes a baptized member of the church. So the parents must be involved in that discussion. Then now, when you make the transition and the child actually makes that decision and declares that, then you need to then go back to those parents and say, this is what has happened, so that the process then starts. Which means you need to intentionally, from your youth committee meeting, go to the board and say, we are asking for the creation of a preparatory class for this group. And the teacher we are bringing is this one. This is the name we are recommending. Then your board votes that. And it also then goes to the business meeting, and then you have the system in place. Take it through the processes. Are we okay? All right. By the way, your young people, as they develop and as they grow older, it becomes more and more difficult to win them because of other influences. All right? Any other questions or comments? Brother Chabu. Yeah, Uchabu is a preacher. He can use a preacher's voice, or he wants to come here. The preacher's voice is God.
Thank you, Pastor. The question that I'm bringing up is this. We have gone out and we have worked hard. We bring in the sheep, but in the crow, there are some that are actually saying, no, these sheep, we don't want them. They are pushed out.
Yes.
You've actually struggled a lot. Most of the kids that we bring, the parents are non-Adventist. So after having taken that time of persuading them to give you their daughters and their sons, you bring them to the church, then the church will say, no, not this one. They are not supportive. How do we deal on that?
Amen. Please answer him. Let's hear. Because I've seen with some of the events that it is the non-Adventist parents who are more committed than us. They pay first. They send the subs every week. They make sure the uniform is ready. They do all those things before the Adventists. So again, your process, when you take an action in your youth committee, that action cannot be ignored because that body is a legitimate body that took that action to say this is what we are doing. When the board votes it and it goes to the business meeting, there's a process that was followed to put that in place. So when we now bring the people, again, the board has to screen the names. Now, when we have done our work to visit the homes, to do all of that, how do you get up and say, these ones we don't want? Or how do you do that? You can't do those things. Because our business is to win souls. That's our business. So we do not foresee a process where you take your actions through the system and then somebody says, we don't want these ones, because you need to refer the person back to the actions of the church. Now, it's ultimately the local church that decides who becomes a member or who is not a member, which means when it comes to membership issues, you need to appeal to the entity that makes that decision, because you can't just throw people away, because what is the reason? You need to be given a reason as to why this one can't be a member, but others can be members. Any other issues you want to raise? Oh, by the way, do you know who your pastors are in your district? You know them? Yeah. The pastor is your friend. The pastor is your friend. Tell the pastor what you want to do. I'm telling you how to caucus. Tell the pastor what you want to do. Then when the pastor chairs the meeting, in the Adventist church, when the pastor says, I know about this, I know about this matter. Even those who were planning to fight, they are now thinking, hey, how do we fight with this guy? Because when the pastor is your ally in the process, it becomes easier for you to implement the thing. Consult with the pastor, say, we are doing research. We want to create a model for our local church in order to retain the young people that we have, in order to develop them and to reach others. Explain the thing, but make sure the pastor is your ally. Yes, sir. Brother, you will tell us if we have time or no time. You are in charge here. There's, yes.
All right. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. Use the mic.
One is a comment of working with the pastor. What we did in our church is to give a pastor a baptismal lesson to the Pathfinders throughout all the classes. So they're able to teach baptismal from friend class. By the time they get to guide, they make a decision to get baptized. So that's what we do. So right from the beginning, the pastor is involved, or the church elder, or somebody who teaches the baptismal lessons better than anybody else in our church.
Yeah.
But the pastor is always there for us. One, so we make sure things are all right. And then you talked about so many things. There's something that I've just forgot, but you mentioned parents' involvement and support from the inception of the club. Well, I must admit, we've never visited homes, but we had what is called open day for Pathfinder Ministries and Adventurer. So they come and we teach the parents about the ministry, one. Then secondly, we ask them a question, who needs help with raising their children? And every parent says, yes. Then we talk about principles, how they get involved. And we say, when you bring your child to the church and say, you're saying, I need assistance, though they will be raising their children, but if they bring them here, we rotate the parents during the functions of our programs in our church. So there's always parents at any program. In that way, it becomes effective. There's always children, non-parents always fight. And then we've also adopted children from the community that are to HDA. Those are orphans. We always have got a 5 in our church. And who supports those children? The church at large. Every church member adopts the child, everyone. So comes to uniform, everybody puts in 50 rand, 100 rand. Going to the camp, food and everything, so they never miss anything. They've got the manuals, but it goes to the beginning that says relationship with the parents. Thanks.
Thank you. She raised her hand. Mom, can you stand, please? I want to use you as an example. Please don't be angry. We had an adventurer camp, or Nore remembers this. She was a parent. So the son was naughty. Do you see she's wearing a full uniform? Yeah. She was just attending the thing. So I had disciplined the children. We told them not to go to the swimming pool, so they went there at Oki used. She remembers. So we said they must not go in there. So they went. So we locked the gate and they started crying. And the parents said, no, stay there. You are not coming out. There's something you did for them to lock you in there. And I'm excited to see she's involved in the ministry because the son is the one who involved her in the ministry.
Okay, my question is, which are the adventurers allowed to be baptized? And if yes, how can our churches know that?
Yeah, you see, that's a tricky question. That's a tricky question because the spirit of prophecy tells you that children experience a spiritual awakening from ages 8, 9, 10. It says that. Your problem is in the local church. I see one of the pastors sitting at the back for security reasons. I will not mention his name. I know that when we sit in the board, it becomes a problem because we argue over they are too young. We don't argue when pathfinders have been arrested for having taha and ambassadors arrested by police for having taha. We don't argue. We start now condemning those parents. They are useless parents. Look at their child. When the child wants to accept Jesus, we say he's young. When they arrest him, we now say these parents are useless. So ultimately, you need to start the process with the parents because it's their child. And they need to own that decision. Because nobody can say to anybody, but you can't be baptized. My daughter, who is now late, was 9 years old when she was baptized. My sister was 9 years old when she was baptized. All right? I can mention pastors to you. Some of them were 11, 10 when they were baptized. And they joined the ministry later on. Some of them have served as departmental directors for the church. They were baptized at age 11. Hoe oud was jy toe hulle jou gedoop het? I was 18. I was a old man. All right. So you need, the response we are bringing is, the families need to be visited so that you deal with that. Because in our schools, we baptize children in primary school, but we engage with the parents on the matter. Second last. You are the last one.
I just want to comment on our discussion, and I'm thankful that you actually brought it across that we must be involved with other departments, because sometimes we think we need to be an island on our own. And the church is now saying collaborate, and we need to realize that we don't have to stand alone. We can use other departments to help us. If we struggle, we have children's ministries that can help us with some things. We have the health ministries for our health seminars. And so we can use other departments. We don't have to struggle to do and to complete our requirements and think it's all our job to do that. Thank you.
I could probably just make a short comment about that. Those of you who chose in the master guide requirements in the curriculum, they say there you must either be a staff member, you must teach a class, or you must teach Sabbath school. They mean junior Sabbath school. That's what they mean. They don't mean Brothers and sisters, I'm here for Master Guide. They mean junior Sabbath school. Therefore, you can't fight with those people. They must help you to meet your requirements. So you are a staff member there teaching junior Sabbath school because you are learning to specialize in junior youth ministries. If you have a problem with children, don't be here.
Okay, Pastor Pat.
Yes,
I think this is my last question. Did you learn something today? All right, second last question.
It's the second last question.
Second last question. If you had to summarize purpose-driven youth ministry, how would you summarize it in one paragraph for us? Because they must go home and realize if they're not implementing something at home in their local church, the young people will vanish.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. If I were to summarize it, I would put it this way. Because your philosophy dictates that you focus on salvation and discipleship, you need then to do research in your local church in order for you to understand how to implement salvation and discipleship in a practical way, in partnership with all the other departments and stakeholders in your local church. That's one paragraph.
Amen.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you to Pastor Stander. I've been in the ministry a while, I would say a few years ago, but when he explains, you see a new light. You know, you realize that probably you have been lacking on something. You know, you're there in the ministry working, but there's something lacking, and that's making an impact in your local church. You know, I've worked with Pastor Stander, even when as youth director, I've worked with him as my district pastor, and the one thing that I appreciate the most is that he understands how the church works. If you really want to know how the church works, speak to Pastor Stander. He can tell you the policies, everything, and he explains it to the easiest, simplest way. So if you want to learn more about the church, speak to Pastor Stander. But really, Pastor, really appreciate your time to come and share, you know, the knowledge that you have to really impact. Because these leaders here, you know, I always say that when we come to training, don't come and just sit and write notes. Start creating your own plan for your local church. That's the idea. That when you live here, you have a plan. To say, when I get next Sabbath, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to change. This is who I need to talk to. And we've learned today that you're not alone. All the leaders in the church are your people that you can work with. You can't just sideline, I'm the youth director. All the people think that you are the youth director, or I'm the youth leader, or I'm the Pathfinder director, and that's me. No, there's a structure you need to operate with. And that structure can help a lot of stuff. A lot of clubs, you get there's a clashes of issues. I always get sad when I hear there's a Pathfinder induction on one Sabbath. Then after 2 months, there's an adventure induction. I was like, something's going wrong. You cannot have the ministry separated when you have two leaders in the same church separating the kids. How do they get to know to integrate when you separate them? So small things like that, people don't realize there's a big impact to the youth ministry by separating events. Hence, we encourage, if it's induction, it's for all the ministry one day. If it's investiture, all the ministry one day, because you are one. You're not divided. There's a few, just a quick information that I need to share with all the delegates here. So, as you know, we're at RAISE. We're not at BST, we're not any other, we're at RAISE. So RAISE, the idea is to give you more information about the ministry, to empower you about the ministry. So, as you say this, if you check this point, it's not in any of your curriculums, if you're doing MJIT or SOIL or PLA, if you're doing the next thing in Master Guide. But it's information about the ministry. That is very important. Because sometimes you need to be reminded of a few things that you need to do in the ministry. So, as example, as we go on the program, just to explain, because I saw people running for signatures and all the stuff, just to explain the program there. So, the seminar that we did, that was done by Master Guide Russell. So that one is a portion of the curriculum. Ne? Because we look at master training, there is a portion of creativity. Even SYL is there, even master guide training, master guides doing PLA and above, it is there. Ne? But it's a portion of that. It's not the complete series. Ne? So by being here, we recognize that. Your notes is sufficient. Because remember, whatever you put there, hence we gave you a copy, so that when you're done with that, just put it in your portfolio. And remember, sometimes the speakers don't say everything in the PowerPoint. They speak other stuff. Those stuff that they speak, that's your personal notes. So those things help you in your portfolio. You're not saying you have done everything, but that I witness that you've done it. But go back and research more on that area, because we can't cover everything in one outing. Ne? So don't have to run for signatures for this weekend, but by having those notes, it recognizes that you're here. Remember, you're also going to get certificates. So the certificate also because the certificate is a signature. That covers you for that. So when you look at that, you're covered. So you don't have to go around and get signatures. It's fine. But other raise, yes, we did that. But realize that sometimes it doesn't serve the fullest purpose. But the signature covers you for that. We're together. Ne? And then the seminar that we had now, it's just information. It's just helping the ministry. Ne? And then in the afternoon, you can also have another seminar. It's about leadership, but it will help you. It will cover a portion of child evangelism, but it's not the full covering. But it helps you to that. So instead, go back and do more research in that area. Writing your own notes will help you to fulfill that requirement. And then we have a session with the master guides, and then leading with the media way, which is digital ministry. So for digital ministry in the afternoon, it helps everyone, but the one that do SYL is very important because it's a key area in your ministry. You understand? So there's certain portions that help everyone, there's certain portions that help particular people. So we're together. So SYL will gain more because it's part of their curriculum. They need to do more digital, so they get more information. But for everyone else, it's information that also will help in your ministry. Are we going together? And then community center, also it will cover that. Remember, we are all about mission work. So it helps you to give information about mission work, but it's not fully covering everything about the mission and work. So it means you have to go back in your curriculum, either you do it as a local club, you do more in that area, so that we can, say you are equipped. So we don't want people to leave here thinking that they've fulfilled the requirement. No, there's more work that needs to be done. But we're just giving a start or a taste of the information. So when you go back and you read more, now you have more information that you're more excited because you got information around it. And then then drill and marching. Drill and marching will be the practical. You do the practical part, but the theory, you still have to do it because there's a full theory document that you have to fulfill. So we'll do more of the practical work, but then you have to do the theory work yourselves or as a club. If you want to do it as a club, it's fine. So, but make sure that you do the theory. We'll just help you with the practical part of it. And then special needs, also it's something important in the ministry that we all need to know, because we might have a child or a young person that has challenges of understanding information. So we need to give you information to guide you in the ministry so that when you work back, you have a child in that situation or an elder in that situation, you know how to handle it. Are we together? So we're giving you elements or information that helps you driving your ministry in your local church. Are we together? So hopefully we won't see people running for signatures, no? Okay, thank you. So now we'll prepare. I think we'll probably take a quick, let's say 2 minutes break just to stretch your leg, and then we'll come back as we prepare for the divine hour. Thank you.
Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. And my story isn't over, my story's just begun. And failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Yeah, failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. And lay your burdens down. Ooh, travel's not the end game. The journey's where you are. You never wanted perfect, you just wanted my heart. And the story isn't over if the story isn't good. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Prodigals come home, the helpless find hope. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Prison doors swing wide, the dead come to life. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Miracles take place, the cynical find faith, and love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Jericho walls are quaking, strongholds now are shaking. Love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. I said, love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house, shut the shame and the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. You're in the Father's house. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. You're in the Father's house. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 receive. We agree. Amen. His favor be upon.
Step forward to go into worship sermon. We are leaders. I'm not going to point out names, but I need choristers in front.
I'm fine, thanks. Let me get out of your way.
1,000 generations, your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His favor be upon you, and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His favor be upon you, and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you. He is with you in the morning, and the evening, in your coming, and your going, in your weeping, rejoicing. He is for you. 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 He is for you.
Rightly beams, wat is dit in Edwin Teams? Rightly beams, it's not there. Apparently it's not there.
They're not in there. 2-5, yes. 254. Which one I'll go with? Concept. Concept.
It's not the one. Let's just sing.
All right, let's just use the vernacular.
Ineba yoba where to take. Ineba yoba where to. Iyakazi mlanjalo. Tina utema sitine. Izibane zivuta. Izibane
udwayo lusindwayo isono sitsho kwamnyama ayaqhuma amaza insizwa nazikhangele ukukhanyela ungcweme izibane mazivuthe zikhanyise nakude wothi usindise udwayo lusindayo lungisizibane zakho kuze kukhanyelwa nde kwabo basingelunxweme bakutuke bunyame izibane mazivuthe sikhanyise nakude wothi usindise udwayo lusindayo.
English song. 79 in vernacular. Far and near.
The 358. Yep.
Amasinia. Take.
Amasimi alindile amhlophe ngamaziba nakude siwabonile nasekhaya anjalo Nkosi yokuvuna yiva nguwe qha unganceda bathume kuvuna ihlobo liyadlula bathume basefuseni nambala ngabangemi nokufa kusenyameni bavume nzivini Nkosi yokuvuna yiva nguwe qha unganceda bathume abokuvuna ihlobo liyadlula wena uthunywayo inkosi vuma that would lead moya wakati pathinsingo shayo tu
Solani tulani. Say.
Be silent, be silent, never whisper his name. Be silent, be silent, more treasure each word. Tread softly, oh, tread softly, oh, that God's jealousy. Tread softly, oh, tread softly. He bids us draw near.
Dumisani uyehova.
Osinikizipho zonke, dumisani emhlabeni. Nina lisidalwa nonke. Dumisani zingelosi ezihlala enyangweni. Nonke nidumise uyise. Nyana moya
Shall we pray? Dear God, we thank you that we can be found here today, and we just pray that as we worship together, that your Spirit be with each one, that we may be lifted up in your eyes, and that Christ above all will be lifted up in our hearts. We ask this in your name. Amen. For the scripture reading this morning, I'm reading from the book of Mark, and from Mark chapter 10, and from verse 42. Mark chapter 10, verse 42. I'm reading from the NIV, but please read from the Bible that you have with you. Mark chapter 10, from verse 42. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." May God add his blessing to this reading. Amen.
We're going to rise with number 100 in vernacular. What a friend we have in Jesus.
What is it in the FM room? 499. 499.
What a friend we have in Jesus. Take. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our griefs and debts to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. Oh, because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Every trial and temptation, is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who will all our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. How we weak and heavy laden, with the load of precious Savior, still our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise, forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms he'll take and shield thee. Thou wilt find a solace there.
Good morning, leaders. Good morning, leaders. My task this morning is simple, is to welcome you to Raise 2022. What does the leader say? Amen. I'm going to break a little of protocol. Now, who was at the Youth Congress? I'm not sure the year, but the theme song was, I Will Follow You, My Savior. Anyone was in that Congress? No one was in that Congress. Okay, so the idea was we were going to sing that song, né? Just probably the first and the last stanza, because the way you're singing reminds me of that Youth Congress. Because, you know, that Congress, when young people sing, there's something happens in the building. I remember that Congress, there was a family that had a bereavement, and they didn't know how to get support. And they had that is young people singing at Hartenbos. And they came and they pleaded to the church, we need help. And that year, I think that, not only that year, that occasion, I think about 10,000 just came out from the young people. And for me, the singing plus the giving, I was like, young people, when young people put their minds into something, things happen. Really, you're singing beautifully. You know, and that's counting this. I know some of you, honestly, probably some of you are attending sort of a church service for the first time physically. It's possible. And hopefully it inspires you to get back to a church to come and groom them. Say, listen, we're missing a lot of information. We're missing a lot of fellowship. And as we continue this day, may you be blessed with all these small occasions, this beautiful singing, the few messages that are being shared, because we come here to learn. And by living here, you should come not only learning, but inspired to make a change in your local church. Now, to revive the spirit and to keep the singing going, and remember, we have different ministries represented here. So we have to go back and represent and talk to the ministries. So we are going to start with the adventurous song, then we go to the Pathfinder song, and then we go to the AY song, in that order. So I know adventurers, when they will hear their song, so we want to hear you more than anyone else. When the Pathfinders come, we want to hear the Pathfinders more than anyone else. When the young people come, we hopefully will hear more than anyone else. You understand me? And you understand what I'm saying there? Because, they take time to things. So, adventurers, can you lead us as we lead the adventurous song? And then in that order with the Pathfinder. Are we ready? Oh, it's ready. So we need someone that will get us going in the adventurous song. Yeah, this is an old song. But for the benefit of today, let's sing this one. Because people are still getting to know the new one. Just for this occasion, let's allow us to sing this one. And always we are adventurers. We're learning everywhere. We always kind to be like Jesus through and through. We are adventurers. We are adventurers. And home and school and play. We are adventurers. We're learning every day to be honest, kind and true, to be like Jesus through and through. We are adventurers. We are the Pathfinders strong. The servants of God are we. Faithful as we march along in kind and truth and purity. A message to tell to the world, the truth that will set us free. King Jesus the Savior is coming back for you and me. Oh, we are the Pathfinders strong, the servants of God are we. Faithful as we march along in kind and truth and purity. The message to tell to the world, the truth that will set us free. King Jesus the Savior is coming back for you and me.
Ask you to bow your heads, and we're going to pray a dedicatory prayer on the leaders that are here today. Let's close our eyes.